Splitting isn't someone consciously deciding to paint you as the villain. It's difficulty holding on to two seemingly opposite truths at the same time. It's hard to believe that someone can deeply love you while also disappointing you. It's difficult to accept that someone can make a mistake without becoming a bad person. When emotions become overwhelming, the mind simplifies reality into two extremes. You're either completely safe or completely dangerous, completely loving or rejecting. That black and white thinking can make relationships feel incredibly unstable because your place within them is constantly shifting. The painful part for the partner is that they're trying to solve a problem that doesn't actually belong to them. They assume if I can just explain myself better, or if I can choose my words more carefully, then maybe the misunderstanding won't happen again. So they begin editing themselves. They think 3 steps ahead before speaking. They rehearse difficult conversations in the shower. They delete text messages before sending them because they worry about how they will be interpreted. They become less authentic, not because they're dishonest, but because they're trying to avoid another emotional explosion. Over time, this creates what people commonly describe as walking on eggshells. That phrase gets so often, that phrase gets used so often it loses its meaning. But if you lived it, you know exactly what it feels like. You're constantly scanning for danger. You pay attention to the subtle changes in tone, facial expressions, pauses, and in conversation. You stop bringing up your own concerns because you already know that the conversation is where it's likely going to end. Instead of discussing the original issue, you'll spend the next 2 hours defending your character, your intentions, or your love for them. Eventually, silence starts feeling like the safer honesty. I've mentioned splitting and the eggshell thing a lot in this document for 2 reasons. Splitting gets asked about every time we talk about it when BPD gets brought up. Everybody wants to know what splitting is. So it's been mentioned a lot in this document. And then the eggshell thing is because of the book, Stop Walking on Eggshells. If you are in a relationship with somebody who has borderline, you should be reading that book. It's going to give you a whole lot of information about the mood swings and how you should handle it as a partner so that you don't become an inauthentic version of you. One of the defining features of BPD is emotional intensity. People often assume that emotions are fake or exaggerated. They're not. The emotions are very real. The nervous system is experiencing genuine fear, shame, rejection, or abandonment. The problem isn't usually the feeling. The problem is the interpretation attached to the feeling. This is where emotional reasoning becomes dangerous. Emotional reasoning says, I feel rejected, therefore you rejected me. Healthy thinking says, I feel rejected. Let me slow down and figure out whether this is actually what happened. Feelings are always real. They tell us something is happening inside of us. They don't automatically tell us what is happening outside of us. We tell ourselves stories within seconds, and those stories become our reality very quick. So imagine someone doesn't answer a text message for a few hours. A person without abandonment sensitivity might assume that they're busy. Someone with untreated BPD may genuinely experience that silence as evidence that the relationship is ending. Their heart races, their mind begins searching for proof that they've done something wrong. Before long, they're sending angry messages, accusing their partner of not caring, or threatening to leave first before they can be abandoned. The emotional experience is authentic. The conclusion often is not. One reason this happens is because many people with BPD struggle to stable the sense of self. Their identity can feel fragile or inconsistent, so relationships become the place where emotional stability is sought. When the relationship feels threatened, the nervous system often reacts as though survival itself is threatened. To someone outside the experience, the reaction can seem wildly disproportionate. To the person experiencing it, it feels completely justified because their body has already decided they're in danger.
The world's not ending. Their world is ending.
Fucking right it is. Fucking right it is. And like, as somebody, again, you know, we both have borderline. I used to have people that I had to call when I was feeling something to be like, hey, this is what's going on in my life. I need to know if I'm overreacting or not, because my response to the situation felt very, very justified because what I was feeling. The reality is most people would hear what I was going through and be like, it's not really that big of a deal, bro. And like, I would have to talk myself off a ledge and then have to work through what I was going through to make it so that I wasn't fucking flying off the handle.